everyone. I'm Reet. By the way, happy Daughter's Day to everyone over here, all the girls. My parents, from a very young age, like I'm only 14 right now, they keep telling me that the age of 16 and 17, those are the crazy years. Those are where everything goes wild, but things are vulnerable too. And not everyone has everything figured out at this age. But luckily for Rusty, he got this opportunity to finally make things perfect at the age of merely 16. The room on the roof was an experience my mom and we lived through together, a really fun one. It's about an Anglo-Indian orphaned boy. He's 16 years old, and he's orphaned by his foster parents. His name is Rusty. What I found really interesting about this book is that, Ruskin Bond, he wrote this when he was just 17 years old. And, Rusty, in his age, he's trying to seek out his individuality and find friends. And Ruskin Bond, he's portrayed this so well through the book. He showed the real struggles that Rusty had to go through, and it wasn't just like full of rainbows and sunshine and just a happy dream. There were actual struggles and hardships that Rusty faced through. He still persisted on with. Now, one thing about this book that really amazed me was the different seasons of life that Rusty went through. The first being Rusty and his solitude. Rusty, in his early years of his life, he loved being alone. Just his solitude, wandering around lazily in the roads of Dehradun, and just completely letting his mind wander further and beyond. He was as happy whenever he could be away from Dehradun. But things slowly change. Rusty finds friends and companionship, and in the most peculiar ways ever. He makes his best favorite friend, that is Somi, and he makes many new friends. That is Kishan, Suri, and Ranbir. What's one thing really amazing about these friends was, they weren't just there for him to play around. They gave him actual life lessons. Like, sure, sometimes be comfortable in your own skin. Just be yourself. That's amazing about you. But also to enjoy all the little moments of life. To relish every single part of it. Not worry about the future or not hold any regrets to the past. But to just live in the moment. How to enjoy everything. To celebrate all the small moments, such as eating at chaat shops, having chole bhature, and also celebrating all the big ones, such as Holi. And with this, happiness comes into Rusty's life. Now, happiness comes in different forms to many people. To some, happiness is success, happiness is wealth, happiness is spending time with your family. To Rusty, happiness was falling in love. He falls in love with the gorgeously depicted Meena. And what was beautiful about their love was the simplicity of it. He falls in love with the way her hair is tied up in a perfect bun, with the flowers that are always there in her hair, the way the shadows play around in her sari, how she laughs, the innocence that's on her face. During this happiness season, Rusty doesn't just mature in the way he likes people, but also in the way he's changed as a person now. Physically, he's become more tanned, he's gotten muscles properly, and he's toned himself, but also mentally, he's learned how to live in the moment. Because now he's more tempted by his reality than what his imaginary world was. He doesn't let his mind wander about, but he learns how to enjoy all the small stuff. But, of course, in life, everything must be balanced. With happiness, there's always a little bit of sadness. Happiness walks right out of Rusty's life, and grief is welcomed. With adulthood, Rusty felt like he was prepared for anything, to face any challenge. But one thing he wasn't prepared for was to lose a loved one. When Rusty loses a loved one, it shatters his world. He's lost now. He's given up in life. The world starts caving in on him. He suddenly feels like, what's the point of life? I just want to give up. And, so useless and worthless. And, it's really sad how suddenly everything changes for him. The world just turns upside down. But what I loved most about this book was how Rusty truly defines his adulthood. Even though he's fallen into the deepest of pits, he pulls himself out. He persists with life no matter how bad the hardships are. he pulls himself out. He takes his responsibilities and all his problems into his own hands, and he learns how to solve them. There's no rule book to life. But slowly on the way, Rusty learns how to move on. How that sometimes, even though it's dark, it's always necessary to find the light, even in the darkness. I think this was one of my most favorite books of Ruskin Bond, and it holds kind of a personal importance to me because my room, my study desk, it's a very happy corner, safe space to me. So much so my parents keep scolding me to come outside the room sometimes. We need to see your face, all right? And in the same way, I feel this room held so much of importance for Rusty. When friendship was coming into his life, the room held possibilities to him. It held so many outcomes. And when happiness had taken a toll in his life, during that time, the room was just like an added bonus. It was just another blessing with all the other happy things. When grief had taken a toll on his life, the room was his only comfort. When all his friends were gone, the room was there for him. It was his only comfort even when people weren't there. And in the end, the room was his hardest goodbye. Basically, what I wanted to sum it up was that, even if people weren't there for Rusty, the room was always there. The room on the roof was always his only friend that remained with him. I would like to conclude this by reading a really important paragraph from the book. I'm not interested in today, I want tomorrow. I cannot live in the same small room all my life with a family of lizards, living in other people's homes and never having one of my own. I have to break away. I want to be either somebody or nobody. I don't want to be anybody. Thank you so much.